Hello, friends. We are continuing with the preamble of the Constitution. We have completed the source of the Constitution, that is, we, the people of India. We have seen the nature of the state as mentioned in the preamble, that is, India shall be sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. This we have completed in the last video, and today we are doing rights as mentioned in the preamble. So there are four rights mentioned in the preamble. First is justice, second is liberty, third is equality, and fourth is fraternity. So let's start with justice. Justice is mentioned as social, economic, and political justice. Now let's start with social justice. Indian or Hindu society has always been a Varna based society which is hierarchical in nature. Your privileges in the society are determined by the birth in which Varna you have been born, or the punishment also. So, whereas Brahmins and the Kshatriyas had almost all privileges in the life, the Vaishyas, but particularly the Shudra, had all the punishments. So, and the punishment were also based on the birth or the one you were belonging to. For the same amount of crime that a person has done, the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas got very light punishment, but the Shudras got the severest of the punishment. So it was a Varna based society, and the Shudras were denied temple entry, access to well, to road, and to education. The history of Indian civilization has been a fight for this social justice. And one more thing I want to mention here is that if there is equality in the society, then there is justice. But if there is this inequality in the society, then there is complete injustice. And therefore, social equality and hence social justice becomes really important. During the medieval period, we had this South Indian Alvar and Naina saints. We had the saints, Bhakti saints of Kabir and Nanak, who stood for social equality. And in modern times, we had Gandhi and Ambedkar who fought against this social injustice. So it was very natural that a constitution would adopt the social justice in a very strong form. And our fundamental rights, part 3 and part 4, DPSP, they are all provisions to ensure social justice. Then the next justice is economic justice, and especially directive principle of state policy. The fourth part gives prime importance to social economic justice. And for example, there are two examples that I have taken. One is the how to ensure gender justice. Now we have seen it's a common practice also. For the same amount of work, men and women will be paid differently. Our cricketers and our film stars will be paid more than the female staff. So, directive principle of state policy clearly mentioned that for equal amount of work, equal pay will be given to both men and women. None, as far as the peasants are concerned, after the enactment of the constitution, various states passed the land ceiling acts. That meant that the zamindars who had large amount of land, some amount of land was taken away from them, and it was redistributed among landless peasants. So this was to ensure economic justice. This is mentioned in the DPSP. When we reach there, we'll do it in detail. Now, how do you ensure political justice? Article 14 says that everyone is equal before the law. So this hierarchical nature of the society was against the principle of equality, and therefore a political equality, Article 14 ensures that everyone is equal before the law, even if he is a prime minister or is an ordinary person, he is a rich person or a poor person. Now, all again, I am mentioning that these are all ideals of the Constitution and the preamble. How practical it is another matter. Then there is one person and one vote. That means a Brahman has got one vote, a Shudra has got the same vote. And anyone can stand for any office in India, including the office of Prime Minister and the President. So this is as far as justice is concerned. And I've already told you it's very closely linked with equality. The next right mentioned in the Constitution is liberty. Now, you should remember this thing, that liberty is freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. This is mentioned in the preamble. You should remember this thing. This can come in the MCQ as well. Now, belief, faith, and worship is related to the freedom of religion. So, any person can profess and practice his religion in the way he feels like. So, this is the freedom of worship. Then there is the freedom of thought and expression, which is mentioned in Article 19(1)(a). So any person can think anything and then he can express it, whether with the way of speaking, writing an article in the newspaper, or he can write in the internet, or he can draw anything. For example, we can draw a cartoon of even the prime minister or any other person, and by that we want to give a message. That's very important, that this should be done in a free and fair manner. He shouldn't be afraid of anyone, particularly the government, and this is ensured by Article 19(1)(a). Now, it the it becomes meaningless in a country like democracy like in India if we cannot criticize the government. If we are afraid that if we criticize the government, then we will be put behind the bar, then we are not living in a democracy. We are living in an autocratic government like China. China, you cannot criticize your communist government there. You cannot criticize Xi Jinping. In Iran, you cannot criticize the regime there, because then you will be put behind the bar and you will not be heard of thereafter. Now, liberty becomes very important because we are now into 50 years of our emergency that was imposed on us by Indira Gandhi in 1975. Then the fundamental rights were suspended, including Article 20 and 21. That is right to life and personal liberty. So these two rights we have done, justice and liberty. We'll do equality and fraternity in our next video. Thank you.